What's crack-a-lacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So we're back for another off-season video for the Green Bay Packers. You probably already knew that. So yeah, before we dive in, go ahead, become a bro, subscribe, leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. And I got all this content for you on the channel, so check that out. Anyway, the Packers, man, they're very interesting. Very interesting. Before we dive in, let me tell you how I'm approaching this. For one, I don't do trades in this. I haven't really found a draft simulator that lets me trade. It's more so with players. Like if I were to release somebody, or not release, but trade them to get compensation in exchange. I haven't really been able to find that. So if I release a player, there, oh, you should at least traded them. I can't. So let's just assume that. Like I found this with Ryan Kerrigan from the Redskins. I would absolutely trade him before I release him, but since I can't really do trades in this, I couldn't do that. So just a little reminder there, as well as when it comes to the lineups, I show the lineups for their most used personnel. So even if, like with the Packers, they're a 3-4 team, but they're one of the teams that use a lot of sub packages. So they use a lot of they'll use like 3 safeties. They even have, you'll see on here, they use edge rushers, like 3 of them. But that's because they put Zadarius Smith sometimes on the line. So you're not going to see a traditional 3-4. You're going to see what guys really get the most snap counts. So that's what you're going to see as far as the starting lineup. Who you're going to see most on the field. So I think that answers about everything. Go ahead. Again, I'm not saying this is the right way. This is just how I would approach it if I were the GM of the Packers. So let me know what you would do in the comment section below. Let's go ahead. Let's get in. The salary cap for the Packers is $24 million. Not a lot we can do with that. So I went ahead. I made the move of releasing Jimmy Graham, which frees up like $8 million, and Lane Taylor. Jimmy Graham being the big, more noticeable one. And I did that kind of anticipating I was going to try to get one of the top tight ends in free agency, because the Packers use a lot of 2 tight end sets. Just what LaFleur does. So I assume Jace Sternberger is going to play a bigger role in the offense next year. So I knew I was going to go out and I was going to pursue a tight end in free agency. So that frees up $35 million in our account. Well, it doesn't free up $35 million. We got $35 million. I did only a couple of re-signings. I did Mason Crosby. You got to get Mason Crosby. I got him on 2 years, $5 million. And then Jared, Veld here? Wasn't it? I've never been able to pronounce his last name correctly. But he actually played pretty solidly when Bulaga was hurt. So we got him back on our 1 year, $2 million deal. Another couple of guys you could probably bring up on small deals for really cheap: Alan Lazard and Jake Kumaro. So I got no problem if you want to bring those guys back. I just didn't list them here because I mean, honestly their deals are going to be so small that you're probably going to get like base minimum. So going into the let's actually talk about a few of the guys I chose not to bring back, like Geronimo. They just need to upgrade their playmakers, and you got cheaper alternatives in Kumaro and Lazard. And then I chose not to bring back Bulaga. Tremont Williams. Tremont, you honestly, another guy, he's close to retirement, and you could probably bring him back on like maybe a 1 year, $5 million. So I got no problems with that. I just kind of expect him not to play, and if he does, it's probably going to be with the Packers here. But they got a lot of good secondary players. So, and they did a lot. You'll see these guys. They got a lot of snaps because they use those sub packages. So I got no qualms about bringing him back anyway. But we're at $31 million. Decided not to bring back Facro, just because they kind of like, they already have enough pieces. Rashawn Gary is kind of fill his role, so they don't need to pay decent money for him. I'm not bringing back Blake Martinez. I really want to find a bigger playmaker, more sideline to sideline athlete that could really help out in the run. since they're using so many sub packages, since they're opting to play so many sub packages, you want to bring in a guy that could really stay in the box there. So I decided to move on from him, and then yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get into the signings. I only did 2, and I went ahead with Eric Ebron. For the most part, it was just because he was kind of a cheaper alternative to an Austin Hooper, who I didn't think would really. He's not really going to be a mismatch nightmare, and that's kind of what I was looking for. We could do Hunter Henry, but I think he's going to be pretty expensive. So we got Ebron here, 3 years, $22 million. He's a guy that could stretch the field, especially at the tight end position. Sternberger's got that ability as well. Eric Ebron, I think more so is going to be a red zone threat. So he's kind of just a cheaper alternative to what they lost in Jimmy Graham. And then I got my boy Gregory Hill on a really small deal, just because there's no one in the there's no one at linebacker for the Packers. I mean, you got Burks. I think that's about the only guy that really got decent playing time last year. I mean, I think Goodson's a free agent. Yeah, he is. So yeah, I mean, I think heavily we're going to look at that linebacker position and try to fill it up through the draft. So speaking of which, let's go ahead. Let's dive into the draft and see what we can do there. All right, there we go. Got it on the screen. Now the draft here, I'm like looking at this, and I went through some of the because with FanSpeak you could go through the big boards that you're using. This one was probably the most accurate. I was the one I was most comfortable with using, that I think could accurately get more so what kind of in our last videos that we didn't really get, because like, yes, players are gonna fall, but they had some guys, like especially Calvin Throckmorton, so many times they have him fallen so far, like late day 3, and that ain't real. So this draft felt like I was looking at getting a linebacker with our first pick. As you can see, we have Patrick Queen's off the board. You got well, we all know Isaiah Simmons, but I'm pretty sure there's Kenneth Murray off the board. So linebacker, no bueno here. You can look at receiver, Brandon Ayuk, maybe Jalen Reagor, maybe. Those are a couple of guys I was considering, but I do want to get some value. I don't think those guys really fit what the Packers want to do at receiver. So I'm just going best player available at this point. Jordan Elliott, honestly, for me, is that he could come in and kind of fill in what they've been missing with Mike Daniels. You know, what they've missed, should I say, with Mike Daniels. Kingsley Kiki, he's been okay, but I think Jordan Elliott can be elite. So bringing him in, another guy that could rotate out, just rotating that defensive line rotation. So not ideally what I wanted to get with that first pick, but I got no qualms about it. I like it's a good pick for value. It's very good, and yeah, hopefully we could it's a deep receiving class, so we can definitely address receiver later on. So yeah, I could be looking at a linebacker with this pick, because I imagine Gaithers will be here, and that's another guy that I love, and he is in fact here. Him and Troy Dye. I mean, we could really risk it for the biscuit and wait till the 3rd round and hope that Dye or Davis Gaither are there. So let's take a look. It's all about value. Look at it. They got Swift still on the board here. Let's take a look at the running backs, just out of curiosity. So they did have a couple that went off the board ahead of those guys. That's interesting. So we're looking. I wouldn't mind trying to shore up the offensive line, mainly at tackle. So there's a couple of guys. There's Throckmorton. Hunt's probably going to be a guard next level. I wouldn't mind Trey Adams on the right side, but guys like Jalen Reagor, Jawan Jennings are still here. So I'm really stuck between those two. I think Jawan Jennings probably be a better slot guy than Rager. He won't stretch the field vertically. He looked like he had trouble on the outside, opposed to Rager, who I think great separation, be a good downfield threat. But Alan Lazard kind of fills that in, kind of sorta. It's not like he's gonna be on the field every snap. So I'm really just looking for a playmaker. So we're gonna go Jawan Jennings, and I'm gonna hope that one of those linebackers fall. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. I'm just staring down this draft board right now. AJ Hamler was another guy I was considering. He's a freak athlete, just a ton of drops. DeAndre Swift in the 3rd round. You know, running back's going to be a weird position in the draft this year. All right. Tane Moody. That's actually a really good pick. Okay, Akeem Davis Gaither. He didn't make it, but Troy Dye did. Go ahead, we'll snag Troy Dye. And we're probably going to... I probably do want to address linebacker sometime in day 3. But at this point, we're kind of in that best player available type of mindset. Like Biotish here in the 4th. Like, there's gonna be a lot of good players that fall. It's gonna be really, really fun to watch. This draft is gonna be wild. All right. Let's take a look at the tackles left on the board. So yeah, there was a run on tackles. Driscoll, Charles, guys that realistically will be 4th round type of guys. As well as Throckmorton, I could see falling into 4th. Man, that's tough. Take a look at everyone else. Colin Johnson, but another guy that struggles with separation. John Hightower ain't half bad. Antonio Gibson's an interesting weapon. Let's take a look at the linebackers on the board. I think we're fine for now. I wouldn't mind looking at safety. Corner, can never have too many corners. Edge, interior, and maybe look at a backup. We'll probably go with one of these two. Let's think. Sorry, my baby's crying. My wife's on it in the background. I like Driscoll. He's one of my favorites in this draft. So it's not necessarily it's not what you would expect the draft to look like for the Packers, but it's not a bad draft by any means thus far. All right. Here we are going into the next round, and again, just best player available type of mindset. We do want to maybe consider linebacker. We want to focus on areas that we are weak at, and our pick should be coming up here. Leaky Hudson's actually a guy that I think would fit very well in the Packers scheme. He's a safety converted to linebacker. At least I think he's still listed as a safety. I don't think he's actually come out and said I want to become a I don't think he's come out and said I want to be a linebacker just yet. So it's a little fishy, you know what I'm saying? So looking at this, let's take a look at receiver, because that has been flying off the board, but there's still a few decent options. Like Juan Johnson, Joe Reed, Tristan Jackson, Jeff Thomas, Courtney Davis. Those are all pretty solid. Still some playmakers here. And I did already address the tackle, so I might just double dip at linebacker right now because I like how Khaleke Hudson would fit the defense for the Packers. All right, so here we are going into round 6. We've addressed the linebacker. Again, at this point in the draft, you're really just looking for potential home run type of picks, you know? So, Charles, I don't think he'll be here in round 6. Well, not everybody's big board's gonna be perfect. Like I said, it's a weird draft, man. There's gonna be a lot of good talent late in the draft. I think we've kind of done a good job with the line. We've addressed receiver just once. I do want to go with receiver one more time. And there's no big boom or bust type of guys. So, I mean, Jeff Thomas, a guy that can really stretch the field. We could probably get him in late, like 7th round, even later in this round if they have that pick. Looking at the line, couple of interesting names. Nothing that pops off the board, you know. Let's just look best player available. I mean, honestly, Lavert Hill wouldn't be bad. I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting more help at cornerback. I mean, they got Luke Barku, which I can see that as well, because he is a kind of a developmental type guy. So, you know what? Let's take a guy at the cornerback position we could develop. And I hope they have one more pick here in the 6th round, because I would like to grab Jeff Thomas. Would be here. Yep. All right, so let's go ahead. I like James Prochet as well. Yeah, let's be a little different. I feel like I'm always grabbing Joe Thomas late in the draft because he would be a pretty good steal late in the draft. But James Prochet, he offers a lot, especially from special teams perspective. So, not half bad. And yeah, just taking best player available. They got Shaheem Carter still around. You can see that he's a bit undersized. I'm gonna go with Antoine Brooks, guy that I think is gonna end up moving to linebacker. Yeah, definitely think he's gonna move into linebacker. And then again, just best player available. This is not a half bad draft. I mean, I don't think there's any superstars, but there's David Woodward. He'd be interesting. Louis Gilman. Oh, I think Louis Gilman will go much further than this. Yeah. I do like Anthony McFarland. Ain't bad this late either. Guy who doesn't have a lot of snaps, not a lot of tread on the tires there at Maryland. He was a part of oh, we got back-to-back picks. Hello. But he is extreme. Like, he's a huge playmaker. I don't know how much he does for the pass game, but maybe he could be an eventual replacement for Jamal Williams. Yeah. So, let's take a look at edge, line. There's very much. David Moa, not a bad nose. Robert Landerts ain't half bad either. Good look at kicker. I mean, no lie. This late in the draft, you have a replacement. I mean, we just signed Mason Crosby, so guess we could avoid that. I should say re-signed. I wouldn't mind taking some more help. You know, I'll go ahead with Stillo. So that okay. I think this is solid. Again, these are guys you just kind of get in late in the draft. Man, they have a lot of like 6th, 7th round picks. All right, so just taking a quick gander at our draft. Jordan Elliott, I think, is a banger of a pick. Juwan Jennings, I think, gives Aaron Rodgers a playmaker. Troy Dye, probably going to end up being our starter. Like, it's going to be forced into the starting role fairly early. I don't know if he's going to be much different than, though, what we had at Blake Martinez. If anything, I think got a similar player. Jake Driscoll, good developmental good developmental guy. Eventually take right guard or right tackle. Luke Hudson, guy that I think fits the scheme very well. Luke Barku, James Crochet. I think overall solid draft. Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting lineup. So starting lineup for the Packers. Of course, you got Aaron Rodgers. Taking a look at offense first, of course, and you got Aaron Rodgers. All this was really to try to get playmakers for Aaron Rodgers, and I think we did that on top of Devontae Adams. We brought in Eric Ebron. You got Juwan Jennings. They still have MVS. I don't think he didn't play too much in the slot last year, so I think they'll keep him on the outside. Keep in mind, you got Lazard, Kumaro. So there are other guys there. The offensive line remains remotely the same, opposed to we now at right tackle got Belt here instead of Balaga, and we got Driscoll. Keep in mind, we got Driscoll, so he might eventually get some playing time. And then onto the defense, got Dean Lowry. Honestly, you could put Jordan Elliott in this rotation with him and Kenny Clark. And like I said, I got 3 edges here because they play a lot of sub packages. They like to throw Preston Smith on the line. It's Darius Smith. And then you got Preston Smith. Rashawn Gary, I imagine, is going to take Kyle Fackrell's role. So, well, there's that. Troy Dye being our linebacker. And then in the secondary, Alexander Keene. I have Sullivan here, depending on if Tramon Williams retires or not, because he was actually pretty solid in limited snaps. I think he played a little south of 400 snaps, and he was actually really good. And then you got Amos, Savage, Beasts. I think this team should be, I don't know if it's gonna be like a 13-12 win team, but definitely a playoff team. But that's it for the video. Go ahead and do the YouTube thing and let me know what you would do differently. But as always, you be easy, my friends. Later.